2024. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Crawley.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. As a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded. Please ensure that your line is muted for those of you who are calling in. Before we get started with our regular agenda, I want to recognize that February is Black History Month. And every year at this time, we honor the contributions and sacrifices of African Americans who have helped shape this great nation. Black History Month celebrates the rich cultural heritage, triumphs, and adversities that are in an indelible, I've lost my place there, that are an indelible part of our country's history. And when we celebrate Black History Month, we aren't just celebrating Black history, we're celebrating American history, which belongs to all Americans. Despite the struggle, racism, and oppression, we collectively and consciously continue celebrating this history every year to help make the change that we want to see in our nation's future. Today we have with us Nicole Sutton here to help us celebrate. She is the Black Heritage Special Collections Librarian in Local History and Genealogy with the Columbus Metropolitan Library. And she's going to tell us a little bit about what the library has planned for February and how our residents can be involved. Welcome to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me here today. As you said, my name is Nicole Sutton. I'm the Black Heritage Special Collections Librarian in Local History and Genealogy at the Columbus Metropolitan Library. My role is to help the library in their goal of obtaining new materials and highlighting our current materials that help to exemplify the diversity of Central Ohio, specifically for the Black community. We achieve this in multiple ways. One of those ways is with a partnership with the King Arts Complex, in which we are working to digitize the collection of photographs from the Columbus Call-and-Post newspaper, which was one of the Black newspapers here in Columbus. Unfortunately, for the first 8 years of the newspaper's existence, we don't have a record of the newspaper. All we have left are these photographs. So it is very important for us to digitize these and make them available for people so this history can be known. Another way is a partnership with the Internet Archive, where we are actually working with them to digitize neighborhood newspapers here in Columbus. One of those is the Columbus Call-and-Post as well. So when we start having a record of the newspaper, one of those ways is through microfilm. We have microfilm of the newspaper starting in 1972, and they're working to digitize those and get them online. We announced this partnership in February of last year, and there are issues online now that people can keyword search and find and be able to find information about people, places that are important to the African American community here in Columbus, and we're just really excited to have those online. And one of the other ways that we make sure that we are sharing and obtaining new materials for the collection, our archives, and our digital collection, My History, is through a program that I host each month called the Black Heritage Collection Spotlight. And with that, I invite a guest on every month, and we talk about an aspect of Black history in Columbus, using materials from the library's digital collection to guide our conversations. We actually have one of those happening today at noon. Our guest will be Denise Ransom. She is the daughter of architect Leon Ransom Jr., and we'll be talking about his life and career this afternoon. If you'd like to tune in for that, you can join us at the columbuslibrary.org website and go to the virtual events under our events tab to register for that. We have those the first or second Tuesday of every month, and those go live at noon. They are all virtual events, and with those, again, we have about a 15 to 25-minute conversation to really understand that aspect of Black history. We also have, those are objectives and initiatives that we do all year long, but we also have special events that are happening this month for Black History Month. Things that Local History and Genealogy are putting on are our Super Saturday. That's this Saturday, February 10th, and that's a whole program of programs as well as activities for families to join in on that are all Black history related. We also have a partnership with the Columbus Division of Fire to put on a program to talk about Black firefighters in Columbus and the history of that. That's going to happen at both the Carl Road branch on this Saturday as well, on February 10th, and also at the MLK branch library on Monday, February 19th. We're also having author Eric Walker come into the main library on Saturday, February 17th, and he wrote the book Lost Souls Recovered. And he was inspired to write this after doing genealogy research of his own, learning about his own family, and then decided to write a fiction book about it. So we want to provide our customers with a view of another way that they can share what they learning about their own family history. Can be fiction, can be nonfiction. There are many routes to share that information. Another program that we have coming up is a screening of the Shutdown documentary, which Simone Drake of OSU created this documentary to talk about the shutdown of Lyndon McKinley High School in 1971 due to racial tension. And these screenings are wonderful because you get to ask Simone different questions. Sometimes we'll have students who attended Lyndon McKinley during the shutdown who are there and can answer questions, so they're really special events. And that's just what local history and genealogy is doing. We have multiple events that are great for families as well, all throughout the system. Some of those major ones that we're doing at multiple branches are Singing, Dancing, and Drumming with Barbarita, Beauty is Organic with Beauty Block. This is my favorite title, All Things Chemistry and Archaeology. Can you dig it? And then Jazz and Hip Hop with the OG Players, as well as the Urban Strings Columbus Youth Orchestra. Those will be at multiple of the branches. If you'd like to hear more about what Columbus Metropolitan Library is doing for Black History Month, you can visit columbuslibrary.org/black-month or -history-month. So, or it's also just on the main page, columbuslibrary.org. But thank you again for having me. I was very excited to be asked and tell you about what we have going on at the library.
Well, Ms. Sutton, let me say that first, you're a very fast talker. And so I had a really difficult time keeping up with all of that. It was quite a lot, but we're so grateful that the Columbus Metropolitan Library is taking an active role in sharing the rich history of the contributions of African Americans, not just around the country, but specifically here in Central Ohio. I love the idea that the photos from the Call-in Post are still in existence. You made me think about something. My grandmother passed away years ago, and I inherited everything and that was in her house. And so it was in my garage, and I was cleaning it out one day, and there were literally boxes and boxes and boxes of Call-in Post newspapers, Ebony magazines, Jet magazines from way back, long before I was born, and I threw a lot of them away. I know, right? I know. So people, listen to me. Don't throw this stuff away. My grandmother was keeping that stuff for a reason, and I just lost my mind and threw it away. But anyways, I want to point out a couple of things you said, and I know my colleagues might have something to say, and so I would definitely want to turn with them. But Black History Month is, as you said, or as we said in our comments, is American history, and both from the dark side of our history here in America to the rich side. A couple of things to think about. African Americans, through the transatlantic slave trade, arrived in America and existed in slavery for hundreds of years. And slavery ended in 1863 or 1865, whichever you want to use as your date. But it has not existed. It existed longer in America than it has not existed in America. And so today, still embedded in our culture are elements of that time and period. Whether you experience Jim Crow laws, to the Civil Rights Movement, and even to modern day times, as we saw things happening with incidents like George Floyd and so many others, too countless to name. We have an opportunity in this generation to begin a new chapter. And what I love about being a commissioner is we've taken that in our own way as a county very seriously. And so when we talk about our work to address racism, to end racism, and to end poverty, all of these things are linked and connected. And so I think, though, it starts with knowledge and information and celebrating the good things that come from our history. And what I think about America, and I'll end my comments on this, when I think about America, I think about the American dream. I think about the progress of what democracy means, what it was meant to be. Our founding fathers didn't get everything right, but they got some things right. And part of what I believe they got right was the idea that we would always be evolving into the great idea and concept of democracy. And for myself, who I grew up in a very tough environment, a lot of poverty, a lot of tragedy. I think many of you know my story. But I'm most proud of, and it's easy to say, okay, you've been in politics, and that's great, you know. You know, most of you probably know I started a company that's doing well. That's great. But what I'm most proud of is that the generation that followed me, my children, are doing better. And that's, to me, the American dream. That, to me, is real Black history, because it signifies what the American dream can mean to any family, And that's why I love Black History Month, is because it's an opportunity to reflect on the positive things, but also the trenches to which much of our history comes from. And to me, that's a beautiful thing to be a part of, no matter what color you are, no matter what gender you are, no matter what you identify as. That Black history is really American history, and it's something that we all should embrace, just as we do the founding and the creation of this great country. So let me offer my colleagues an opportunity to add anything to it, or not. Okay.
Oh, no, I can say something.
Okay,
I didn't know,
please.
I was drinking if John had something to say. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being here. And I won't add too much more to what Commissioner Boyce said, because I think he laid it out really well about the history and why it means so much, and how Black history is American history. And I will say, like, we are history making right here. And as much as I celebrate being the first woman of color, Commissioner Boyce is the first man of color. It took 220 years to get a me. And as much as that is exciting, and I won't be the last, it should not have taken 220 years. And I think one of the reasons why a board had declared racism as a public health crisis before I got here is because you have a board and administration that understands the history of this country, even this county, and the laws that have been codified that discriminate, as well as policies and procedures that continue to exclude, and we needed to mitigate that, but and not perpetuate it. But now that you have two African Americans here, I say that if you know his story, people can read mine. It was in the dispatch. And it talked about how we had to get it out the mud, right? And how we got here, and it wasn't easy. And I can say that, like, I succeed my ancestors, I succeed my lineage, but I know what they had to go through to get me here, or for me to have an opportunity to even sit here and represent almost 1.4 million residents, right? And I think the obligation for me is to make sure that the history, the people who came before me, whose shoulders I absolutely stand on, whether they're community leaders, whether they are elected officials, was with Mayor Bivens and Deputy County Administrator Bivens over the weekend. We were talking about how at one point in time during Reconstruction, there were more African American elected officials, and then Jim Crow happened. And there was a reason why we don't see or didn't see that many people representing us was intentional, right? And I'm sure those things have been in the column post over time, some that you threw out, unfortunately, but, I've done the same thing with my grandmother's stuff as well. And so how do we make sure that the history that's in the making right now doesn't get lost, that my children, Hope and Faith, and the children of Franklin County get to understand, where they come from and who was here before them, making sure that they can thrive and not just survive, and that they can to see themselves in leading or being an entrepreneur or running for office, and what it took for the community that they will inherit to be what it is. And so I'm looking to the Columbus Library to continue that legacy and documenting history and legacy and lineage. And so I just want to say thank you for all that you do. And because this is Black history and because I have a unique opportunity that no one has had prior of being elected, I just want to say thank you. It is absolutely an honor to serve, and especially during this time.
Thank you. And I just wanted to remark on one thing that you said. I've recently started saying this, and I feel like it's so true, and it's encapsulates what you said well. It's the fact that often the difference between equality and equity is knowing that history, and knowing that history and being aware of that helps us to create better policies that can help repair the damage that has been done in the past. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm proud and happy to serve with both of you. So I grew up in politics. I grew up in government. And when I was young, you had to, all the elected officials had to go before both Amos Lynch and a gentleman by the name of Gil Price, and at the Colin Post. And so as a staff person for elected officials, you always had to go see those gentlemen, Mr. Lynch and Gil Price. And then when I got elected, or when I ran for office the very first time, and so Commissioner Boyce and I, we talk about, we are now the, we'll say the seasoned elected officials in town.
Speak for yourself, man.
Yeah, well, we just stated last week that you and I have been in office about the same amount of time. So I may look older than Commissioner Boyce, but, and I am a little bit older than Commissioner Boyce, but we've been in office for the same amount of time. But when I first ran for office, I had to go see Mr. Price. And it was a great experience. And then when I got into office and he started writing articles about me, I was I was touched, and I was very proud about the things that he wrote about me. And so we miss him. We certainly miss him. We miss the paper. Miss Mr. Lynch and those days. But at this point, I think we're starting to miss that whole medium to some degree. And but Gil Price was a guy who, just kept everybody, in their right place, kind of, in the community, in their, in the right frame of mind, in the community. And so, hadn't thought about him in some time until you made me think of him this morning. And so, miss him a lot. And so thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. I'm going to go look up some of those articles about you.
Yeah, go. DCA Bivens?
Just really quick, first of all, thank you for all the work that you all do at the library. I'm interested in knowing, do you all have the actual poll test that used to be distributed for folks to vote, like some type of sample of it on your website or?
I don't. Okay. I'm being told some, but not all of them.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good, Malcolm showed me a test this weekend, some of the questions that are on there. There's no way I would be able to answer those tests, but I think it's a good education for the residents of Franklin County, because we just have to fill out a voter registration card and that's it. That test, eliminates a lot of folks. It would just be good for education. If there's ever, if you ever have that, I will be really interested in seeing it.
Yeah. Make that happen.
Yep, great idea. I would say, Commissioner Grady reminded me of just a real quick story. When I went to see, he was talking about going to see they were sort of the Black community sort of, bosses that you go to see to get their blessing. And I first went to see Amos Lynch, and so just he and I in the office, and I go sit down. It's my first time running for office. And I'm like, Mr. Lynch, I'm here, and I give him my little spiel, and just the two of us, and he falls asleep while I'm talking. And so I sat there and talked for 20 minutes while he was asleep because I didn't know what to do. So I just kept talking. And then so he just woke up, and so I just picked up anyways, like I was saying. And so it was so crazy because, I got the endorsement, but I was like, man, he slept when I talk about he was snoring and sleep. And I'll just never forget that. So anyways, good old Amos Lynch. Rest in peace. Well, thank you, Nicole, for your presentation today. And think about if there are any kind of artifacts or displays that you all would like to display here at the county and let the public see. We got a pretty high volume of traffic and would love to display that. And it doesn't have to be in February. It could be Black History Month is every month.
Every
so,
month.
Right.
So I want to invite you to maybe. Is PFM here? They're here? That's it. Yeah, they're here. I want to invite you to perhaps think about a relationship of displaying some historical artifacts on a regular basis about Black history or even Central Ohio history. So.
We would love that. We currently have an Underground Railroad exhibit at the State House right now. So, if you are inviting us, we will be happy to connect with you on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you work with our PFM folks and maybe we can coordinate something? I think it'd be a lovely display to share.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you.
today. All right, keep it moving. To next, we have some very special guests here to help us recognize that February is also American Heart Month. And as many of you know, cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in America. But something you may not know is that women, especially Black and Hispanic women, are disproportionately impacted by heart disease and stroke, and research shows that heart attacks are on the rise in younger women. Here to tell us a little more about American Heart Month and what we can all do to be heart healthier is Franklin County Health Commissioner Joe Mazzola. Welcome, Commissioner Mazzola. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning to county administration, county colleagues. Great to be with all of you here in person. It's been a few months since I've been here. Thank you so much for the time. I'm joined by Nancy Tobey, the Executive Director of the American Heart Association of Central Ohio. Full disclosure, I'm on their board, so it's an honor to serve on their board, and thank you to the commissioners for giving us a few minutes to talk about Heart Month. I'll let Nancy do all the talking about that, but I do want to just say a couple of things about the American Heart Association and the work that they do. They are, when you talk about collaboration and a community partner, they kind of embody that. They are the definition of serving the community. The American Heart Association and Franklin County Public Health, we co-chair the Franklin County Hypertension Network. It's a group of 30 or 40 organizations that meet regularly to talk about how we can collaborate and reduce hypertension in our community. And through their leadership, it's really been an amazing initiative. It's now part of our Community Health Improvement Plan as well. Every time we call on the American Heart Association for something, they show up for us. They show up through our community health action teams. They show up through the Hypertension Network and continue to be involved in a lot of community events. And so, but this year in particular, there's a few milestones and a few additional recognitions that we wanted to highlight. Before I turn it over to Nancy, I want to thank all of our community partners. In addition to what we're going to do here today, the Huntington Park and the Columbus Clippers turned the ballpark red on Thursday and Friday. I want to really say a special thank you to them for that. A lot of our municipalities are doing the same. So really as a community, we're really coming together to raise awareness. And I just want to thank all of our community leaders for that support. So with that, I want to introduce Nancy Tobey to talk a little bit more about Heart Month. We're joined also by Sally Morgan. Sally is on our Board of Health and also a volunteer of the American Heart Association. And Diana Briggs is also with us from the American Heart Association. So Diana, thanks for being here, and look forward to hearing more about Heart Month.
Well, good morning, everyone. As Joe said, I'm the Executive Director for the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association here in Central Ohio. My name is Nancy Tobey, and again, on behalf of the association, I would love to thank Health Commissioner Joe Mazzola for just his incredible leadership and the opportunity to be here today. And I want to thank you all and the Franklin County Board of Commissioners for passing the resolution for February to recognize as American Heart Month as well. It is an exciting year for the association. We are turning 100. as an organization. And so as we celebrate these 100 years and we reflect back on what was happening 100 years ago, really heart disease was considered a death sentence. And really, how did we make people comfortable going home after being diagnosed with heart disease? And if you fast forward today, there have been so many scientific advancements, education, awareness, and prevention. And through those scientific research, we are saving more and more lives through volunteers and supporters. From traditional medical issues to such as high blood pressure and societal problems, we are identifying why so many are dying from heart disease and stroke. And while we have made great strides, just recently in the 2024 statistical update, unfortunately, less than half of Americans know that heart disease is their #1 health threat. And so that for us is alarming, and knowing that we need to continue to work together to figure out why so many people are dying from heart disease and stroke when it can be highly prevented. The work that we do remains so incredibly important, as the results from this recent report discover the need to continue to focus on education and awareness. We know many continue to be unaware of the warning signs and risks of cardiovascular disease and stroke. And we know that most of these events can be prevented with healthy lifestyle choices. We are honored to continue to do our work alongside Franklin County Public Health to raise awareness, provide educational, and advocate for change in our community. We continue to focus on life's essential 8. These are the core health behaviors and health factors to help individuals achieve optimal health. And again, we look at that from mental health to cardiovascular health. It's a mind, body, the whole health when we look at the life's essential 8. And we continue to address improving blood pressure control, as Joe said, with our Franklin County Hypertension Network. And again, it's really about bringing people together to look at how we can solve these big problems. Again, I would be remiss, I want to say a sincere appreciation to Commissioner Mazzola. He has been such an amazing leader for our organization and our community, and his dedication has been a direct result of collaboration, and thousands of individuals have been impacted through sustainable population-level health changes. And as we mentioned, there is also another milestone happening. Our Go Red for Women initiative is turning 20 alongside our 100th year. And as shared earlier, women are disproportionately impacted by cardiovascular disease. More women die than all forms of cancer combined. And so again, the education awareness, and we're seeing younger and younger women dying from cardiovascular disease and stroke. So again, just bringing that awareness, this resolution for American Heart Month, in February, really helps us advance cardiovascular care in our community. And just really, I'm thankful again to be able to be up here. And thank you again for your support of February being American Heart Month.
Comments?
Thank you.
Comments?
Well, I have comments, but if you guys want.
No, we'll let you take the floor here. This is.
Well, we really appreciate you being here. 2024 marks my 25th year as a heart patient. And so, anything, that we can do, and I can do, or that we can do as a board, that we can do as a county to highlight and continue to highlight, the work that you guys do, and the things that we can all do to remind folks to take, the extra steps that we need to, whether it's, continuing to monitor, take your blood pressure at home, take your medications, see your doctor on a regular basis, all the things that everybody, needs to be reminded to do on an ongoing basis. Just little things that people need to remember to do. Not have that extra cup of coffee, not have that extra glass of wine.
Everything in moderation, right?
Yeah, everything. But, so it's, if you'd have told me 25 years ago that I would still be here 25 years later, I would have never believed you. But, and what I survived 25 years ago, I was considered a miracle when it happened. And nowadays, I have a friend who what's that?
I said, I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember that time
yeah.
in my life, yeah.
And but I have a friend who had surgery last week for a similar thing that I went through. And it's what I went through 25 years ago in 1999 is a more common experience today, because of the advancement in medical advancements that they have today. So it's you know, it's a whole different world today than it was, you know, years ago. So thank you for everything that you guys are doing. Thanks for, you know, calling the, you know, attention that you guys do to the issue. There are many other health concerns out there that get a lot more attention than heart disease does, but heart disease is the thing that kills more people than anything. And I think we just accept the fact that people have heart attacks. And it shouldn't be that way, but it is. So, anyway, thanks for being here.
Well, I'll just say it too, because, John, what you got to understand too, or Commissioner O'Grady, but that's inspiration to people, you know, when I remember that time in your life, and I remember seeing your physical change and kind of your comeback, if you will, and then more recently, you know, the idea is that when you experience that, then you can be an advocate for others. You can help them take better care of themselves. And I just had a conversation with Commissioner O'Grady a couple of weeks ago where I'll disclose my doctor was advising me to go on blood pressure medication, and I was really resistant. But it was Commissioner O'Grady's advice to me that helped me think through whether or not to, and then Commissioner Crawley too, she chimed in on that as well, but because of her family experiences and whatnot. And but it's that kind of advocacy that really helps this entire conversation and helps us all grow, because I have to be honest with you, I wasn't going to take that blood pressure medication. And I'm still not happy about it. But sometimes your advocacy can actually have meaning in another person's life, especially when you've gone through it like you did. And then you say to me, Kevin, take the damn blood pressure medicine, you know, and my doctor couldn't convince me. My spouse couldn't convince me. My mom couldn't convince me. But when you hear from somebody who's been down that pathway, it's just a different, or someone who's had family experiences down that pathway, it's a different experience. I say that to say, for all of those survivors and those advocates, your work is meaningful. You stand in there today, it is meaningful. The red dress we wear, yes, it's a symbol, but it is meaningful. And so, thank you. Thank you for that advocacy, and thanks for your story. Thanks, Sharon.
If I may, President Boyce, thank you so much for being here. I think last time you were here, I had shared that my mom had a heart attack. I come from a family, or two women in particular, my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother died of a heart attack, and you know, had struggled with congestive heart failure, and my mother passed away 6 months ago. From congestive heart failure. And so as someone in my age now, looking at my own mortality, right, like I am very much focused on eating right, taking care of myself physically, mentally, to lower my risk. It wasn't something that I thought I would be predisposed to, but now having a family history of a mother and a grandmother dying of heart disease, you know, I know that I am easily at risk. And so it is because, so now I feel like I have to be even more of an advocate, because one, I feel like I'm staring my mortality in the face, but also I know that if, you know, my mother was sickly anyways, had a heart murmur, had open heart surgery, and just struggled for a number of years, but that doesn't have to mean that my outcomes have to be the same, and as well as others. And so it will be because of the advocacy. It will be because of people sharing their story. It will be because you will have a testimony that you no longer need high blood pressure medicine because you have made some changes, and you no longer need that. That will save lives. That will be the thing. And so thank you for continuing to raise awareness. It is something, as you already stated, that takes the lives of more people than cancer. And I know cancer gets a lot of attention, as it should, not like it's either or, it's both and. But as it was stated, that more younger women are finding themselves suffering from heart attacks, dying from heart attacks and stroke, and we know that we can definitely do something about it. So thank you for being here today. Thank you.
Get a resolution to you. keep it moving here. Is there approval of the minutes of the November 14th, November 21st, and November 28th, 2023 general sessions, and the November 16th and November 30th, 2023 briefing sessions?
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved.
All right. First is drainage engineer.
Resolution number 9224, resolution authorizing a transfer of funds for the Stormwater Management Program.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brad Foster, Acting County Engineer and appointed Drainage Engineer. Commissioners, our first resolution authorized the transfer of $1,274,246 from the general fund to the Stormwater Management Fund to cover operating and capital improvement expenses for the Drainage Engineer for the first half of 2024. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 92-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 9224 has been adopted. Resolution number 9324, ADR and Associates Limited Consulting Engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County Engineer by providing general drainage engineering services in the amount of $100,000.
Commissioners, the next drainage resolution seeks approval of a contract with ADR and Associates Consulting Engineers to assist the Franklin County Drainage Engineer with general drainage engineering services. The first task order identified for the contract will assist the Drainage Engineer's Office with engineering related to the ditch petition process set forth by the Ohio Revised Code. ADR and Associates is a local engineering firm and was chosen via an engineering qualifications-based selection process. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 93-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 9324 has been adopted.
Okay, thank you. We have a public hearing for Resolution 94-24. Can the clerk please read the public hearing?
Final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of Runner Road, County Road number 27, from Alton and Darby Creek Road, County Road number 272, to Spindler Road, County Road number 153, Norwich Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for this resolution. Is there anyone here in the audience or online who would like to speak at this public hearing? All right, seeing that there are none, I'd like to close the public hearing and have the clerk read the resolution into the record.
Resolution number 9424, final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of Runner Road, County Road number 27, from Alton and Darby Creek Road, County Road number 272, to Spindler Road, County Road number 153, Norwich Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Commissioners, this resolution seeks approval of the right-of-way plans for the Renner Road at Alton Darby Creek Road at Spindler Road Improvement Project. The Franklin County Transportation Improvement District project is funded by OPWC and private development dollars. It is located in western Franklin County and Norwich Township and seeks to improve Renner Road with the addition of a two-way left-hand turn lane, drainage upgrades, and pedestrian infrastructure. The project will also replace the structure over Crover Gulf Ditch. Approval of this resolution authorizes the county engineer to move forward with the acquisition process. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 95-24.
Second.
Commissioners, 9424, I'm sorry.
Sorry, 94-24. Move for approval of Resolution 94-24. Sorry.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 9424 has been adopted.
Great. We have a public hearing for Resolution 95-24. Can the clerk please read the public hearing?
Final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of Winchester Pike, County Road number 376, at Watkins Road, Township Road number 126, and Askins Road, Madison Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
At this time, pardon me. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for this resolution. Is there anyone here in the audience or online who'd like to speak at this public hearing? Okay, seeing that there are none, I'd like to close the public hearing and have the clerk read the resolution into the record.
Resolution number 9524, final hearing for establishing, altering, and widening of Winchester Pike, County Road number 376 at Watkins Road, Township Road number 126, and Askins Road, Madison Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Commissioners, the next resolution seeks approval of the right-of-way plans for Winchester Pike at Watkins Road and Askins Road Improvement Project. The project is located in southeast Franklin County in Madison Township. It seeks to construct upgrade pedestrian infrastructure at the intersection. Approval of this resolution authorizes the county engineer to move forward with the acquisition process. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 9524.
Second?
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 9524 has been adopted. Resolution number 9624, the 2024 resurfacing program for Franklin County, Ohio, declared necessary and hearing fixed for Tuesday, February 27th, 2024 at 9 a.m.
Commissioners, this resolution declares necessary the 2024 Franklin County resurfacing program. The county engineer has identified 10 roads throughout the county that need resurfacing that is included in this year's program. Approval of this resolution will authorize the engineer to prepare plans, specifications, and estimates for this project. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 9624.
Second?
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 9624 has been adopted. Resolution number 9724, final encumbrance of county motor vehicle license fee, $5 funds to the city of Worthington.
Commissioners, on September 13th, 2022, resolution number 658-22, preliminary allocated $448,500 to the city of Worthington for the improvement of Huntley Road and Shock Road intersection in the city of Worthington. The city of Worthington has submitted final detailed documentation for the improvement and has been determined that the improvement has been constructed as proposed by the city. Approval of this resolution authorizes the distribution of $447,383.04 in the county motor vehicle license plate fee funds to the city. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 9724.
Second?
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 9724 has been adopted. Resolution number 9824, resolution requesting the Ohio Department of Transportation to reduce the speed limit on Harlem Road, County Road number 111, Plain Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Commissioners, our final resolution seeks authorization to request the Ohio Department of Transportation to investigate the speed limit on Harlem Road from Walnut Street to Smothers Road. ODOT will review Franklin County's study and determine a safe speed limit. We are recommending a speed limit reduction from 55 to 50 miles per hour. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 9824.
Second?
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 9824 has been adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the coroner.
Resolution number 9924, resolution authorizing acceptance of a grant of funds from the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation for suicide investigator position within the Franklin County Coroner's Office and authorizing the county administrator to sign the agreement in the amount of $200,000.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. My name is Amanda Alvarez-Wright. I'm the Director of Operation representing the coroner, Dr. Nathaniel Overmeyer. This resolution is presented to the board for authorization to accept funds in the amount of $200,000 from the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation for 2 years, which will support collaboration, expand the data analysis, and investigative capacity for suicide investigations to aid in the prevention strategies and outreach activities. I would like to introduce Dallas Allen, who is our current suicide prevention and postvention specialist, who has a statement to add for the resolution.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So my name is Dallas Allen. I am the Suicide Investigations and Postvention Specialist at the Franklin County Coroner's Office, excuse me. In 2021, I became the first person to hold this title within a medical legal office in the entire United States. Since 2021, I've completed over 200 psychosocial interviews with individuals who have lost loved ones to suicide and provided grief guidance and resources to over 500 individuals. The psychosocial interviews are a deep dive into our decedent's life experiences. My detailed reports are then presented within a suicide fatality review. To date, I've completed 11 quarterly fatality reviews, and from those reviews, I've compiled almost 200 actionable recommendations that are intended to increase education, increase resource awareness, connection, and follow-through, as well to decrease stigma related to mental health and suicide. In addition to my main duties at the office, I also sit on numerous boards, committees, and travel around the United States where I continue to educate communities about the epidemic of mental health and suicide. My grant is up for renewal, and I'm here asking that you support the new proposal being placed in front of you today so Franklin County can continue to be a national leader in suicide prevention. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Pending any questions, we would ask for your approval.
President Boyd. Okay. So I have it's more of a comment. As you, I think as we really support organizations when it comes to behavioral health and mental health and really trying to break the stigma, especially in communities of color. If your assessments in your conversations from loved ones who have lost people to suicide, there is something that we could be doing or a way that we can or a specific way we can target resources to help those suffering from mental health or who have suicidal ideations, may have attempted suicide but not completed it. Like, we would love to have that information. You know, there might be things that we think we're doing right or, you know, supporting organizations, but there, from your conversations, there may be more that we can do to support families.
Yeah, I appreciate that sentiment. So a big kind of focus for me going forward. So since 2021, with this being such a new position, this doesn't exist anywhere else. So there was no real framework on how it would look. And so a lot of this has been groundbreaking, and I've gotten to the point where I've had, like I said, almost over 200 actionable recommendations that I believe, as well as my partners and stakeholders that I work with regularly, believe that it could make an impact with suicide fatalities within our community as well as the state of Ohio. So I do have those, and I'm at the point now where I'm looking for implementation of those. And so I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to allow the public to be in the know about those recommendations. And so I work with the Franklin County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and so I work with all of their action teams, and I present my recommendations through them as well. So I position them as the actionable arm for those recommendations. And so our hope going forward with the action plan up to 2026 at this point is to find better ways to implement the recommendations that were created, as well as reporting them to the Ohio Department of Health, which is part of the legislation that is in place for this position and in the suicide fatality review. So my hope is that we'll continue to advocate for those recommendations. And so any support that I can have from the commissioners would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, and I know you have something. I sit on the coalition, well, Dayla does as my designee. Really appreciate the work that the coalition is doing. I know that they are trying to do more and then really just hone in on specific targeted populations. So thank you for supporting that organization and that work.
Thank you, Commissioners. Just as a follow-up to Commissioner Crawley's recommendations, Amanda, if you and your team could make sure that those recommendations are forwarded not only to the Commissioners' offices themselves, but also county administration, so we can push out to our directors as well. That would be very helpful.
Yeah, and I'll actually add real quick, I'm actually in the process of creating a data report for those. So it's gonna have kind of statistics for suicide fatalities within our community, but I'm also incorporating the data and the recommendations that we've gotten from the fatality review. So I actually have a very formal report that I could also provide moving forward. I'm hoping to have that done by April, so.
Well, if there are no additional comments, I move for approval of Resolution 9924.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 9924 has been adopted. Resolution number 124, agreement with Ohio Health to provide tuberculin tests for employees in the amount of $1,680.
Sorry, I'm still writing my note. Our next resolution is for tuberculosis skin testing. So this is a test used to determine if a person has developed or an immune response to bacterium that causes tuberculosis. The healthcare workers administering such skin test on a yearly basis is standard practice and to identify the latent and active TB infections. The staff at the coroner's office would be considered at risk for exposure to TB because of performing autopsies of high-risk individuals. The coroner's office does seek to cover the cost for these yearly tests basis for the standard business expense. Currently, I did reach out to our healthcare provider, and the only way that it would be covered is if there was already a positive diagnosis and test. So that's why we would like to cover and be considered as part of healthcare and giving annual testing to our staff. Pending any questions, we ask for your approval.
There are no comments or questions. Move for approval of Resolution 100-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 100-24 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Thank you.
Animal control.
Resolution number 101-24, resolution authorizing a 5-year contract between the Franklin County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Franklin County Department of Animal Control and the City of Columbus Department of Public Health for rabies control and testing services in the amount of $10,440.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Lionel Hamilton, Fiscal Officer for Animal Care and Control. This resolution is seeking acceptance to enter into a 5-year contract with the City of Columbus Department of Public Health for our rabies and control testing services program here at the shelter in the amount of $10,440. Pending any questions, we respectfully ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 101-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 101-24 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion.
Resolution number 102-24, resolution authorizing a grant agreement with Rev 1 Ventures to provide grants, training, and assistance to women and diverse entrepreneurs in the amount of $230,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. D'Amica Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution will authorize a grant agreement with Rev 1 Ventures to provide grants, training, and assistance to women and diverse entrepreneurs. Rev 1 will collaborate with Aventi Enterprises to recruit and provide training to 60 women and minority-led entrepreneurs through the Business Accelerator Program and provide grant funding up to $100,000 to women and minority-led businesses. Christy Campbell, Chief Operations Officer, and Alicia Odie, Managing Director of Entrepreneur and Inclusion Programs, are attending virtually for any questions you may have. If there are no questions or comments, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'm sorry.
Chief, really quick, how do women in the community find out to accessing this resource? Because there's a lot of women-owned businesses in our community. Is it already designated, or is there some information on a website they can go to?
Thank you for the question, DCA Bivens. I'm sure that they send information out, but I will turn that question over to Christy Campbell or Alicia Odie to answer, who's on virtually.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners and County Administrators. I'm Christy Campbell. I head up operations for Rev 1 Ventures. And yes, between our partnership with Aventi and our work directly in the community, we do promote both of those accelerators, and there are websites that communicate the benefits of entrepreneurs being able to either explore technology and how that could help build their business, or to think about the business model for a technology business.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no additional comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 102-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 102-24 has been adopted. Resolution number 103-24, resolution authorizing an Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion agreement with the Greater Columbus Sports Commission to support economic equity in Columbus and Franklin County to encourage economic development and tourism through the attraction, retention, and promotion of sporting events on behalf of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners in the amount of $130,000.
Commissioners, this resolution will support a grant agreement with Greater Columbus Sports Commission, who hosts events that amplify historically Black colleges and universities at the Classic Fort Columbus. women in sports through Classic and the City Women's Basketball, activities of the African American Male Wellness Agency, and Compete Sports, who connects, educates, empowers, and inspires mission-driven LGBTQIA+ and allied sports and community leaders, sports organizations, nonprofit groups, tourism partners, corporate partners, and athletes to further support sports diversity through membership, media, and event platforms. Celia Anderson, Director of Business Development at Greater Columbus Sports Commission, is on the call with any questions or comments. After those, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 103-24.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 103-24 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is economic development planning.
Resolution number 121-24. Resolution authorizing a funding agreement between the Franklin County Board of Commissioners and the Community Builders to expand the supply of affordable housing in Franklin County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brianna Morris, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. This resolution will authorize the county administrator to execute an agreement with the community builders to support affordable housing within the county by affording $500,000 in home funds toward the Bexley Apartment Project in Cassidy Avenue. On July 27, 2023, HUD executed a document giving the county approval to expend $500,000 in home funds toward the Cassidy Avenue location of this project. The Bexley Apartment Project consists of 2 sites, one on East Livingston Avenue and one on Cassidy Avenue. The Cassidy Avenue location is a mixed-use building that will have retail on the ground space and a minimum of 3 households targeting 60 to 30% AMI and 13 households targeting 80 to 30% AMI. The $500,000 in home funds will go toward hard construction costs for the Cassidy Avenue location and support these affordable housing units. The total Bexley Apartment Project affords Franklin County residents 43 affordable household units serving households between 80 and 30% AMI. And ultimately, this expenditure will support expansion of affordable housing in Franklin County community. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of the resolution.
Yeah, thank you. I do want to just say just a few brief comments. So last week, I had the opportunity to testify before the United States Senate Budget Committee. And what the testimony was about was essentially affordable housing. And I was able to highlight some of the work that Franklin County has been able to do using home funds. And so the chairman of the committee, which is the senator from Rhode Island, I think was really interested in the very specific projects that we're using for using home funds as directly relates to affordable housing. And so one thought might be to coordinate with my office on a letter. I hope my people are listening. Emily, she's probably watching on the tube there. But coordinate a letter thanking Chairman Whitehouse, but also highlighting this expenditure to show that just even the next week we're using these funds and maybe go into a little depth on the project. Just the way you did was perfect. So again, what they're looking at, what they're considering is additional funds in the home fund nationally for affordable housing. They're looking at a variety of other ways to invest and expand affordable housing, and this is connected to my work as chair of the Affordable Housing Task Force for NACO. And so there's really a good opportunity to highlight and really, because they're looking right now at increasing those funds and looking at projects, how they work, and maybe even improving the way the funds are dispersed. And so if you could work with my office, Emily Cooner in my office, that'd be great.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure, is this the Bexley project that has like the historical
Yes.
components to it that we've been working on? Okay,
And that's
all right.
the East Livingston Avenue
Avenue.
location.
Okay.
But these funds would go specifically towards the Cassidy Avenue location.
Okay, all right, that's what thank you.
President. President Boyce, Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator, President Boyce, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Crawley. Yes, this is the Bexley project that prosecutor's office has been working on, along with EDP and Office of Management and Budget, because there's different components to it. I would like to thank Ms. Morris in particular for her attention to this matter. She's put a lot of work into this project, so she really should be applauded this morning for getting us to this point, because this has been a very worthwhile but complicated project. So I just wanted to personally give a shout out to you, because you've been a key individual in moving this project along, working through all the environmental assessments and everything, the different requirements, the public notice requirements. This hasn't been easy, but when this is done, residents of Franklin County will benefit from these affordable housing units being constructed, because there's such a need in our community. So I just want to thank you for all of your legal work in getting us to this point. Bree.
Thank you, Administrator Wilson. I really appreciate that.
All right, if there are no additional comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 121-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 121-24 has been adopted. Resolution number 104-24, review of petition to annex 9.45 acres, more or less, from Jackson Township to the City of Columbus, case number ANX-02-24.
Good morning, Commissioners, Administration, and everyone in attendance. Emmanuel Torres, Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning. And this first resolution is to consider an expedited Type 2 annexation petition. The area to be annexed from Jackson Township to the City of Columbus includes addresses 2005 Demarest Road, 2021 Demarest Road, and Demarest Road parcels numbered 160-000-126 and 160-002-175. The petition meets all statutory requirements outlined in Section 709.021 of the Ohio Revised Code. And pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 104-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 104-24 has been adopted. Resolution number 105-24, review of petition to annex 0.897 acres, more or less, from Jackson Township to the City of Grove City, case number ANX-03-24.
This next resolution is to consider another expedited Type 2 annexation petition. The area to be annexed from Jackson Township to the City of Grove City includes address 2232 Edwards Road. The petition meets all statutory requirements outlined in Section 709.021 of the Ohio Revised Code. And pending any questions, I respectfully request the approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 105-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 105-24 has been adopted. Resolution number 106-24, review of petition to annex 1.075 acres, more or less, from Plain Township to the City of Columbus, case number ANX-04-24.
This last resolution is to consider a municipal annexation petition. The area to be annexed from Plain Township to the City of Columbus includes address 5290 Central College Road, which is owned by the City of Columbus. The petition meets all statutory requirements outlined in Section 709.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. And pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 106-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 106-24 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Next is fleet management.
Resolution number 107-24, resolution authorizing a contract with Express Wash Concepts LLC for fleet car wash services in the amount of $150,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Charlotte Ashcraft, Director of Fleet Management. Fleet Management is requesting approval of a contract for car wash services. The Commissioners' fleet consists of approximately 500 vehicles. We did at one time have our own car wash from 1976 to 2011. It did fail, and we had to have it removed. Our space restrictions do not allow for us to replace it with our own. Fleet Management entered into an agreement, resolution number 001423, for car wash services to determine the viability of an outside car wash, plus determine our volume. Purchasing issued an RFP, number 2023-0410, for car wash services, and we received 2 bids. Express Car Wash Concepts is considered the recommended vendor. This contract is for 3 years for up to a maximum of $150,000. The contract is from February 1st through January 31st of 2027. And pending any questions, I respectfully request approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 10724.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 10724 has been adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Jobs and Family Services.
Resolution number 10824. Resolution approving a subaward amendment with the Columbus Urban League for the Franklin County Ready to Earn Year-Round Program for an increase of $800,000 for a revised total of $3,291,208.28.
Good morning, Commissioners. Walter Dillard, Assistant Director, Chief Strategy Officer for Franklin County Job and Family Services. Ready to Earn is our comprehensive work readiness training program that allows youth and adults, young adults, 14 to 21, the opportunity to get real-world experience and develop the essential workplace skills like punctuality, teamwork, and critical thinking, all while earning wages to help meet their basic needs. During summer of 2023, the Urban League provided 335 youth with workforce readiness training and summer employment through the Franklin County Ready to Earn program. During the summer months, youth ages 14 and 15 engaged in work-based learning programs, and youth ages 16 through 18 participated in traditional work experiences. Under this amendment, the Urban League will continue its year-round Ready to Earn program, offering career readiness and work experience programming for high school students and recent high school graduates. The Columbus Urban League has expanded its program to offer services to 100 high school students ages 16 through 19. Participating youth receive the following services: digital literacy, financial literacy, customer service, and work readiness training. Participation in group mentoring experiences, Google IT certification training, participation in college tours throughout Central Ohio, and this resolution supports Goal 11 of the Rise Together Blueprint Plan. Commissioners, what this resolution also reflects is your recognition of gun violence as a public health crisis, especially among our youth. Our Ready to Earn programs demonstrate your commitment to funding summer youth employment, after-school, and engagement activities to give our youngest residents alternatives to the social isolation and mental stress that can pose risks to their safety and well-being. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 108-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 10824 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 10924. Resolution approving a contract with the Mid-Ohio Food Bank for the purchase and distribution of food to Franklin County soup kitchens, food pantries, emergency shelters, and community distribution events in the amount of $100,000.
The Mid-Ohio Food Bank has seen a significant increase in the number of families entering the emergency feeding system for the first time since the start of the pandemic. Under this sub-award, Mid-Ohio Food Bank will continue to support the purchase and distribution of food to Franklin County emergency food pantries, shelters, and soup kitchens. During the most recent program period, the Mid-Ohio Food Bank served over 41,000 families and distributed almost 270,000 pounds of food to their partner organizations. An estimated 50,000 Franklin County residents at or below 200% of the federal poverty level will be served. This resolution also supports Goals 8 and 10 of our Rise Together Blueprint by working to improve maternal and child health among high disparity groups struggling financially and working to improve overall environmental conditions of neighborhoods of concentrated poverty, including having easy access to nutritious foods. Pending any questions, I ask for approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 10924.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 10924 has been adopted. Resolution number 11024, resolution approving a contract with the United Way of Central Ohio Incorporated for tax preparation services in the amount of $75,000.
Tax Time is a coalition of nonprofit, business, and government organizations that seek to help low to moderate income households claim available tax deductions or credits, avoid preparation fees, and advance on the path towards financial independence. It combines both the United Way's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, AARP's Tax Counseling for the Elderly program, under one umbrella. Since its inception in 2006, Tax Time's IRS-certified volunteers have helped more than 175,000 Central Ohio households claim over $189 million in refunds. The free services have also saved Central Ohio families an estimated $36.7 million in tax preparation fees, avoiding paid preparers who might engage in predatory practices such as refund anticipation checks. This year, residents will be able to access free tax preparation services both virtually and safely in person at dozens of sites across the county, including public libraries, community centers, and social service agencies. Residents can learn more by calling Lutheran Social Services 211 hotline. They can also learn more by visiting getyourrefund.org/UWCO. This resolution also supports the action steps of expanding neighborhoods-based and workplace-based financial services to support individual decision-making in the overall wealth building under Goal 4 of the Poverty Blueprint Plan. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval of this resolution.
If I may, President Boyce,
Please.
I just have some comments about this resolution, and I know we have supported this long-term. I would love to see it increase just a little bit in United Way. I would be supportive of that, just because I volunteered when I was in law school with the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program that was supported by United Way, and we at the law school would prepare taxes for mainly aging residents, or definitely those who are low income, and it makes a huge difference because they can't afford to pay out of pocket. They don't know how to do it, and some of them, because they did not have the assistance before, missed filing their taxes for previous years. And so, especially for those who have no income or low income and aging, this service absolutely helps them out and puts a little bit of money in their pocket. Normally, what we would see in the VITA program is that because they didn't know how to file their taxes or didn't have money to pay someone, but when they finally came and got this service, they were owed money or had a tax, I won't say owed, but had a tax return that put money back in their pockets for a few years, and that would help them pay for medication, keep a roof over their head, water running. So I want you to see like the downstream impact of this. So super supportive of this, but just wanted to make this known for the public or those who are watching or those who are here, share the word about this service. It really does make a difference. So,
Thank you, Commissioner.
absolutely. If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 11024.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11024 has been adopted. Resolution number 11124, resolution approving a subaward agreement with Librarians in Columbus Incorporated for a Community Wellness Navigator Program in the amount of $188,472.
The Liberian immigrant community in Central Ohio is growing, with more than 6,000 calling Franklin County home. However, like many new American communities, they face obstacles to thriving. Factors all across the social determinants of health, including unsafe housing, or underemployment, poor health outcomes, and social isolation. Liberians in Columbus, Inc. developed their Community Wellness Navigator program to help bridge that gap. The program seeks to link members of the Liberian American community as well as Far East Side residents with services from Health and Human Services and nonprofit agencies across the county. Their assessment and referral process will direct and connect residents to services ranging from housing assistance, child care and workforce readiness to financial literacy, behavioral health, and trauma support programming. During this pilot, Liberians in Columbus will provide support and navigation services for an estimated 150 TANF-eligible residents. This resolution aligns with the short-term action step of the Rise Together Blueprint Goal number 9, reducing the overall incidence and racial disparities in occurrences of preventable disease and trauma, and improving the health of those living with chronic, mental, physical, and behavioral health conditions among those struggling financially. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 111-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11124 has been adopted. Resolution number 12224, resolution approving a subboard agreement with the City of Columbus, Office of the Mayor, Celebrate One for infant mortality interventions, education, and outreach strategies in the amount of $800,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carmen Barnes, Assistant Director, Job and Family Services. Celebrate One is the City of Columbus's and Franklin County's collective impact initiative to reduce the area's alarmingly high rate of infant mortality. Through this resolution, Celebrate One plans to broaden their communication strategies to support behavior change on topics such as prenatal care. They will continue at their outreach by providing cribs to the community and will continue to sponsor the Teen Reproductive Health Education Program. This resolution aligns with the Rise Together Blueprint Goal number 8. Pending any questions, I ask your approval for this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 122-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 12224 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next, sanitary engineers.
Resolution number 11224, resolution authorizing a third modification to the general engineering services contract with Arcadis US Incorporated for an increase of $200,000 for a revised total of $618,900.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. I'm Ryan Stowe, the Assistant Director of Sanitary Engineering. Per Resolution 699-19, Franklin County Department of Sanitary Engineering, on behalf of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, entered into a general engineering services contract with Arcadis. Since that time, the contract has been modified twice to increase the contract value and extend its duration to accommodate current and future project needs. Sanitary Engineering is requesting approval of a third modification to the general engineering services contract to increase the value by $200,000 and extend the period of performance by 18 months to continue with existing projects and identified future projects. This modification, if approved, will bring the value of the contract to $618,900 and the duration to 70 calendar months. Funding for the additional services will be provided by the $5 million provided to the Department of Sanitary Engineering by the Board of Commissioners. Pending any questions or comments, I respectfully request the approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 112-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11224 has been adopted. Resolution number 11324, resolution authorizing a final contract modification with Elite Excavating Company of Ohio Incorporated to close out the Young Estates Pump Station Replacement Project for a decrease of $39,623.74 for a revised total of $630,142.26.
For Resolution 257-21, Franklin County Department of Sanitary Engineering entered into a contract with Elite Excavating Company of Ohio to provide labor, materials, and equipment for our Young Estates Pump Station Replacement Project. To date, the project has been completed to the satisfaction of the sanitary engineer. The final cost of the project is less than the initial contract amount of $669,766 by $39,623.74. The sanitary engineer wishes to adjust the final contract value to the actual cost of $630,142.26 through a contract modification to officially close out this successful project. Pending any questions or comments, I respectfully request the approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 113-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11324 has been adopted. Resolution number 11424, resolution authorizing a final contract modification with the Darby Creek Excavating Incorporated to close out the Timberlake Water System Improvements Project for a decrease of $17,977.13 for a revised total of $123,324.87.
Similar to the previous resolution, Franklin County sanitary engineer is looking to close out our project with Darby Creek Excavating. The project has been completed to our satisfaction, and the final cost of the project has come in $17,977 under budget. We have wished to adjust the final contract value to the actual cost of $123,324.87 through a contract modification to officially close this project out. Pending any questions or comments, I request the approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 11424.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Moved
Oh,
and,
don't worry, we've all been there.
Yeah.
moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11424 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Public Facilities Management.
Resolution number 11524, resolution authorizing a guaranteed maximum price amendment number 5 to modify the original contract agreement with Alford Incorporated to provide construction manager at-risk services, including construction services associated with the construction of the Franklin County Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court in the amount of the contract not to exceed $15,047,704 for a revised amount of $36,675,949.53.
In July of 2020, Elford Inc., a local firm, was awarded a contract agreement to provide construction manager at risk services associated with the planning, design, and construction of the Franklin County Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court located at 373 South High Street. This resolution authorizes guaranteed maximum price GMP Amendment Number 5 that allows for the completion of the remainder of the plumbing renovation project for the Franklin County Office Tower. Specifically, this amendment includes the scope of work to replace the existing cast iron stormwater, sanitary waste, and vent piping, and domestic water loops, etc., that are generally original to the tower and critical for facility preservation. The small and emerging business enterprise participation for this amendment is 43%, approximately $5.6 million from 2 local firms, including 1 EDGE certified and 1 women business enterprise. Consistent with the construction manager at risk model, Elford will hold all subcontracts associated with this amendment. Pending any questions, we respectfully request your approval of guaranteed maximum price amendment number 5. Thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 11524.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11524 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Next, Purchasing.
Resolution number 11624, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $21,969,548.25.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Perry Balanier, Director of Purchasing. Joining me is D'Amica Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution requests your approval of 261 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. Turned over to D'Amica.
Good morning again. 21 of these purchase orders are being presented today are being awarded to small and emerging businesses totaling $1,525,220.13. Awarded to 2% of minority businesses, minority-owned businesses, 2% to small businesses, and 3% to women-owned businesses. Once these are approved, 10 agencies have provided equitable and inclusive opportunities to small businesses this week, which include the Auditor's Office, Child Support Enforcement Agency, Clerk of Courts, McCommon Police Court, Data Center, Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, Engineer, Job and Family Services, Public Facilities Management, and the Sheriff's Office. Pending any questions, we respectfully request your approval on this resolution. There are no comments or questions. Move for approval of Resolution 11624.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11624 has been adopted. Resolution number 11724, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $182,800.
Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 9 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. And pending any questions, I request your approval of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. Move for approval of Resolution 11724.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 11724 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, next is Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 11824, resolution to designate the official representative and alternate for the purpose of voting at the annual meeting of the County Commissioners Association of Ohio in 2024.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lauren Gressel, Assistant Director of Community Appointments. This resolution will designate Commissioner Boyce as the official voting representative and Commissioner O'Grady as the designated alternate. And pending any questions, we'll ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 11824.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11824 has been adopted. Resolution number 11924, resolution appointing Lagrita Tampon as a member at large at the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission.
Commissioners, this is to fill the vacancy due to the resignation of Greg Listini. This is an appointment for 2 years, and pending any questions, we'll ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 11924.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 11924 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution number 12024, resolution of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to convene into executive session for the purpose of considering personnel matters.
Sorry. Move to convene into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 120-24 has been adopted to convene into executive session.